Hey, so if you've got a flight booked with Air Canada, you need to listen up because your plans might be in serious trouble. We're going to break down this whole labor dispute that could ground thousands of flights, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. So let's get right to it. Is your flight at risk? The short answer is absolutely, yes. There's a potential walkout scheduled for this Saturday, and the airline has already hit back with a lockout notice. This means travel plans for thousands and thousands of people are in real jeopardy. And just how big is this? I mean, get your head around this number. We're talking about 130,000 passengers. Not in total, but potentially impacted every single day this thing goes on. It's massive. So how in the world did we get here? Well, this didn't just happen overnight. This is actually the result of an 8-month-long negotiation stalemate that's been dragging on, and now it's finally reached a breaking point. Right, so after 8 months of talks got them nowhere, the flight attendants union went ahead and issued a 72-hour strike notice. That sets the deadline for both a potential walkout by the union and a lockout by the airline for early Saturday morning. The clock is definitely ticking. Okay, so it all boils down to this. A major disagreement over compensation. The union is asking for better wages and, importantly, to get paid for ground duties, like safety checks. Air Canada, for its part, has put an offer on the table, a 38% total compensation increase over 4 years. But the union says, look, that just doesn't cut it with inflation and what others in the industry are making. Of course, the federal government is getting involved. You have the jobs minister pushing both sides to get back to the bargaining table. But here's where it gets interesting. Air Canada is asking for government-imposed arbitration to just force a deal. The union, on the other hand, wants to hammer out a deal through negotiation. So you've got two totally different ideas on how to solve this. And this whole thing goes way beyond canceled vacations. A shutdown of this scale would send some serious shockwaves through the entire economy. In fact, the disruption is already starting. Even before that Saturday deadline hits, Air Canada is already canceling around 500 flights. So yeah, the effects are already here. And beyond just the daily cancellations, think about the human side of this for a second. An estimated 25,000 passengers could be stranded overseas, stuck far from home with very few good options to get back quickly. And that economic ripple effect, it's huge, especially for the travel industry that's just getting back on its feet. A strike threatens the busiest part of the summer tourism season. It messes up critical cargo shipments. We're talking pharmaceuticals, fresh food, and it hits small businesses that really depend on that air travel. It's a massive chain reaction. Okay, if you're holding a ticket right now, this is the part you really need to pay attention to. Let's talk about your rights, because the rules for this specific kind of situation are actually very, very clear. Everything, and I mean everything, comes down to a set of rules called the Air Passenger Protection Regulations, or APPR. Now, here's the key thing you have to understand. Under these rules, strikes are considered to be outside the airline's control. And that little detail, it makes a huge difference in what you can get for compensation. So, what does that mean for you? Well, under the APPR, you basically have two choices. One, the airline has to rebook you for free on their next flight, or even on a partner airline's flight. Or two, you can just scrap the whole trip and ask for a full refund. But, and this is the big one, you are not entitled to extra compensation for things like your hotel or meals while you wait. That's a really critical point to remember. Now, to be fair, Air Canada is offering some things beyond that bare minimum. They are giving full refunds, and they're waiving rebooking fees for flights in a specific time window. They're also using their partner United Airlines to help people out. And here's a pro tip. If your trip involves the UK or the EU, you might actually have extra protections that do cover things like meals and hotels. So definitely look into that. All right, we've gone over the what, the why, and your rights. Now for the most important part. What should you actually do? Here is a simple, straightforward action plan. Okay, just 3 simple steps. First, monitor your flight status like it's your job. Check your email, check the app, check the website constantly. Don't wait for them to call you. Second, the second you get that cancellation notice, you have to act fast. Decide right away if you want that refund or if you want to try to rebook. And finally, step 3, Be proactive. Start looking at other airlines or even train tickets now. Have a plan B ready to go. This whole mess really brings up a tough question. When something like a strike completely disrupts travel, where does the airline's responsibility end and where does your risk as the passenger begin? It's the fundamental tension for anyone who's caught in the middle of something like this. Thanks for joining us for The Explainer.